All right, what are we doing here? Building a Micropub server?
Yeah.
So you want to...
Can you build one in 45 minutes?
I think we can.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely could.
Yeah. Let's do the. I guess start with authentication, because that's obviously an important part of building a server, is getting the authentication and token stuff sorted out. So I think the easiest way to start is to start by trying to get Quill to talk to the test server, to a test server. So I mentioned Quill before. And why don't we use a test server of mine so we can actually do some live coding?
Test server that does Micropub?
Yeah, I'll make a server that does Micropub from scratch.
So we're not going to use the existing one, we're going to make it from scratch.
A new server, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like
Oh, this was my Austin demo of microformats. So yeah, I'll just use this folder. So I have yeah, let's start here. Those. And make a index.php. Can you see up there? That's very small. Let's see if I can see.
Or if you turn off the lights again like we had earlier.
Oh, yeah, you want to do that?
I got you.
So let's make a little web page. Great.
That's a lot better.
So here's a web page, and here is a file serving the web page. And then we're going to turn this into a blog with Micropub support. That sound like a fun exercise?
Yeah.
Yep.
Word.
Okay. So we're going to start by using I have HTTPS. We're going to start by using Quill, and I'm going to try to log into Quill, and we'll see how far we can get. So that's my domain name. That's my URL. It doesn't have to be a bare domain. You can have subfolders. So we're just going to use a subfolder for this experiment. So, all right, we got a couple of problems. We need an authorization endpoint. Thankfully, it's giving us a shortcut for this, which is we can just use one that exists already, so we don't have to build that part.
Question. So could I just hardcode a token on the server and then somehow pass it to Quill, or
Kind of. You do need to do the dance in order to get Quill to get the token.
Okay.
So I'm going to add that tag to the page. And now if we refresh this, great. It's like, cool, we got an authorization endpoint. Now we need something that Quill is going to use to get tokens. And again, we can use this shortcut, so we don't have to write one. And now that is happy. Now we need a Micropub endpoint. And this is something that we can't just shortcut, because this is going to be able to, it has to make posts. So we're going to go do that. So
Why is authorization endpoint and token endpoint different?
Because the token endpoint does not need an interface, a user interface. It just exchanges codes for tokens. And the authorization endpoint does need a user interface, because that's the thing that's going to show me a prompt that says this app wants to sign in as you. And so because they do two totally different things, and one has an interface and one does not, it is useful to have them be totally separate. So if we refresh, it's going to find the Micropub endpoint, and it's like, cool. So now let's authorize.
Which of those three links do you control?
So as the person with a website over on the right,
Yes.
You tell Quill which three things to use. What authorization endpoint, what token endpoint, and what Micropub endpoint to use. What we just did to shortcut this was there is a service you can use that provides an authorization endpoint as a service that, as the website owner, you don't control. You also don't need a separate account there, so you can just use it by copying and pasting this. Same with token endpoint. This is a token endpoint as a service, so if we go here and look at what it's telling us here, it says, this is a token endpoint. Here's how to use it to verify access tokens. Here's how to use it with IndieAuth.com, et cetera, et cetera. Ultimately, you should replace those with things that you do control. So the longer version, if we end up with enough time, is I can go in onto the server and write a new token endpoint.
Okay.
And then I will replace this with /IndieWebCamp /token.php.
So is that indieauth.com/auth? Is that just a kind of a proxy that's going to authenticate anybody that says?
It is, yeah.
You're not making a specific claim or anything like that. That I'm so and so.
It is a thing that will authenticate the user to prove that it is the person who owns the domain that just logged in.
Gotcha.
And so as we'll see, so what happened right now on the left is I'm at Quill. Quill found these endpoints.
Right.
I click login. Quill now sends me to the authorization endpoint that I defined,
Right.
which is indieauth.com. This is now trying to authenticate me, and it does not have a way to do that because I didn't make an account there.
Okay.
There's no user accounts on indieauth.com, so this is telling us here's how you can let this service authenticate you as a user. We need some sort of authentication mechanism using rel equals me. Email works, and so does GPG key.
Okay.
I don't have. I'm gonna have to log into my email on this. No, let's try it with Twitter. So I can say.
So for Micropub, is IndieAuth required? There are two different specs, right?
IndieAuth, the spec is required. The rel me part of that is not.
Oh, okay.
So the
Realme is just a way for a service to do it.
the rel me thing is the way that you can use this service to not have to make an account somewhere. And
So each client today, like microblog, whatever, they all kind of expect that I'm going to have authorization endpoint and token endpoint.
Yeah.
And if I build my own that is just using the Micropub and it has a hard-coded token, that is not really following the spec.
you can hard code a
won't
token.
be-
You shouldn't, but you can hard code a token. But you still need to put these things in here so that the client can get the token.
Right. Okay.
So we can do that here actually. But let me get through a couple steps first,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna go back and replace these.
Replace them with ours.
Because basically this is like the authorization endpoint is the most complicated one. Token endpoint is the second most complicated one, and the Micropub endpoint I can't make a service to help you, so we have to do it. So let's start by building that, and then we're gonna go back up the stack, and we can replace the service token endpoint with our own token endpoint.
Gotcha.
And then we can replace the authorization endpoint as well. But for now, I'm going to say, hi, this is Aaron's test website. And I'm going to do this. So now on our web page, it links to, there it goes, links to my Twitter account. With rel equals me, which means now when we do this, it's going to say, oh, cool, it found Twitter account. But the Twitter account doesn't link back to this page, so I can't use it to authenticate yet. So I do have to go to Twitter and log in as me and change my website on my Twitter account, which I'm going to do for my phone, because I'm already logged in. And profile, edit profile, website. I'll try not to forget to change this back.
The authentication
Otherwise,
thing
everything else
knows
will
where
stop working.
to look for a website in Twitter, because Twitter probably doesn't support rel-me.
Twitter, I think at one point did actually have rel-me on the website field, and then they took it off because they always do that. But yeah, this website is going to use this website. The service uses the Twitter API because it's doing actual Twitter OAuth, so it already knows how to pull that out of Twitter.
So the service will either look for LME on any website, or it has built-in proprietary stuff for like Facebook and Twitter to find their.
Well, so the service only supports things that it knows how to interact with, like Twitter and not Facebook. GitHub, email, GPG, things like that.
Okay.
Things that don't require pre-registration per user. Okay, so my Twitter bio links to this test website now.
Yep.
So if we refresh, all right. So now I can log in. I can prove to this service that I am in control of this website by authenticating with Twitter. This is going to send me out to Twitter, which I should have realized. I need my Twitter password.
Live streaming it.
Yeah.
Be careful. I'm running back.
Nothing could go wrong there.
It's all a LastPass, so or one password, so it's take a while. I haven't typed this in a very long time. Yeah.
Well, if you've ever typed it in, you're better than I am in a lot of cases.
Cool. Logged in as Twitter. Now this website can, that service was able to recognize that the person who logged in on Twitter is the same person that started the flow, and
Let me get you some more.
The OAuth dance is complete, and Quill got a token. This was the token response. This is the token. Normally I wouldn't put this up on a live stream, but this is our test website, so all you can do is post to this test website with this token. Yeah, this is the token that this token service generated. Doesn't really matter what it is. It doesn't mean anything to clients. It's just a string. Quill got it. Quill now stores it internally, and we're logged in. So here we're logged into Quill. So you can see Quill thinks we are this test website. And as soon as I do this and post, it's going to fail because your Micropub endpoint did not return the location header, and it turns out that the server returned 404 not found because it turns out I don't have the Micropub endpoint on the server yet. We just told it where it was. So we're going to make that file. So this should now return not 404, but yeah, 200, which is not the correct response that it needs, so it knows it failed. Now we get to handle the Micropub request. So let's see. I'm not quite sure how we can illustrate what Quill is sending to this.
Postman?
You could return 200 and then the response body could contain,
right, it shows us here. Okay.
contain a bar dump, so that Quill fails and spits out the... If Quill shows the response body. I don't remember if it just shows the headers.
Nice.
Sweet.
Nailed it.
Nice. And then also, if we look at the headers, we can see that it also sent the token in the header, which is the preferred way to deal with it, so we're going to do that first. So we need to extract the access token.
To Fremont, California.
Oh yeah, because the server's in Fremont. It geocoded the IP. So we're going to extract the bearer token from the header. If it's not there, we're going to say 401. Is 401 forbidden? No, it's here yet.
401 is like not authorized or whatever.
Unauthorized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
403
was
is forbidden.
I want.
Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter that much. So we're going to pull out the access token, and now we can say, let's see if it found the access token. Yeah, cool. Found the access token. So now we can test whether the access token is valid. If you're making your own token endpoint and you're like storing tokens in a database, you would just look it up in the database. If you're doing self-encoded tokens like JWTs, you do that, whatever. Since we're using the token endpoint service, we're going to ask the service, is this token valid? So we're just going to forward it on and check. And that is documented at the service, tokens.indieauth.com. Here's how to verify access tokens. You can make a request like this. Okay, so we're going to say, token, we're going to say, give it a header, and we're going to pass in authorization. Access token. And then we're going to run that. And return the response. And oh, look at that. We don't need to double encode it because it returned a JSON response. So sure enough, our token endpoint verified the token is valid, and it returned who the token was issued for, and that's the important part. We need to double check that this is us. And if we want to test to make sure this is working right, let's add some junk in there to send it a junk token, and the response is going to be error. So we know that the token endpoint is telling us the token is valid, and let's double check now that, so if there is a me, and it is set to us, then we're going to proceed. Otherwise, we're going to stop. Okay. So I did something wrong. Probably missing a. See a syntax error in there?
I was thinking more like
It's PHP, it's all the syntax.
That's what I did. There we go. Okay. So now we are able to check the token is valid. We know the token was issued to this user because somebody else can send a token to here. It was also generated by tokens.indieauth.com. Now we can proceed with the actual micropub part. So here we know the token is valid. Okay, so let's go back to, let's spit out the post, see what's in the post request. So it sent very basic set of properties. H entry telling us we're making a post. We'll ignore the access token because it's the guy from the header, and it's sending content. So we need to basically store this somewhere that we're using generate posts. So let's make a little blog first so we have a place to put it. What is the fastest database I can use? Probably text files?
Yeah.
Text files. Let's do text files. Posts. And make sure that the server can write to it. Don't do that for reals, but this is just a demo. Files. Let's get all the files in posts. Let's do JSON so we can extract that easily. For each files And then for now, let's just do that. So we're not going to see anything here. Why don't we make a little post? And we'll say, we'll store that and content. Cool, so there's a blog post. Not a super great blog post. We'll deal with that later. So we're gonna take this Micropub request and we're gonna store it in that folder. So first we're gonna get rid of the access token out of there so we don't store it. And then we're going to let's just dump it to a file and deal with everything else later. So file name, let's use the date. I like doing that. JSON. Okay, so if we run that, that looks good. Do we have a file in here? No, I put it in the wrong folder. We need to store it in posts. Come on, come on, what am I doing wrong?
We are using the file name.
I didn't put the file name anywhere. There we go. So there's our file.
And what's the that's 4-digit year, 2-digit month,
Year, month,
2-digit
day,
Yeah.
hour, minute, second. I just like using timestamps for stuff. So that's just stored. But notice that Quill still thinks that there's a problem. And that's because we didn't tell it that it actually successfully made a post. So we need to tell Quill, yes, it worked, and here's the URL for the post that was created. Which means we need to support permalinks soon. For now, let's say, so how to tell Quill that works is to return 201 created and tell it the URL. Which means we now need to make a URL for this. So we're going to say that our permalinks are in this folder, question mark ID equals the post ID, and let's use this for the post ID. So we're going to use the date as the post ID. We're going to write the file with that date as the file name, and then we're going to tell it the URL for the post is /IndieWebCamp question mark ID equals blah. Normally I don't like URLs like that. I prefer to do full paths and use like fancy server-side URL matching so that we can get nice URLs without question marks. But it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want, and this is quicker. So now, save that.
So using URLs as opposed to like some sort of ID, like URLs can change and they can be, you can support multiple URLs.
Mm-hmm.
Will that confuse Quill later when I want to edit the post? And so my
Yeah, so the
backpoint has
URL is meant to be the identifier for the post, and because you can change URLs, if you do change the URL, that post, that URL is gone, right? Unless you redirect it. So as long as you're redirecting it, you can sort it out on the other end.
Okay.
As far as editing posts, most of the time you're going to end up with clients that are editing a post that you're looking at or that was just retrieved from a list. So the URL will be accurate because it's going to have just come up. But yeah, it's totally up to you to maintain URLs essentially, which is true on the web, right? Like if you make a URL somewhere and then you change your URL pattern, you better make sure you redirect all your old URLs, otherwise you've just broken a bunch of links. So yeah, so we're going to post this, and if I did everything right. Okay, so what happened is Quill recognized the 201 and it found the URL, and it redirected the client to that URL. So notice that it's got the post ID up here. This is the permalink that was just created by that Micropub request. And Quill does this because it's nice sort of visual confirmation of like, you click post and you end up on the post. That's like makes sense. And what we should do is in our index file, make a little thing that can pull out just this file so we can see just this post. So we're going to say if there is an ID in the query string, then we're going to do something different. Otherwise, we're going to render the home page. So if we look at the permalink, it should be empty. Yeah, empty page. So we're going to say
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, that looks super safe to me. We'll fix that later. If that file is there, then post equals that's just gonna grate on me until I fix it. But whatever, we're gonna ignore that for now.
ID equals ... /..
Just if you're not a web developer, that's an extremely dangerous idiom, because somebody could send you an ID with ... // and walk backwards into your server configuration.
Yeah, you can pull any old
Okay.
file that your
Now
web server can read.
Now you can only
Nice.
fetch arbitrary files in that folder. That's better. Okay. So now you can't do that. Okay, so we pulled out the content of that. We found the file, pulled out the content of that file, and now we have permalinks for our posts. We go back to our home page. We might want to do something like something more along the lines of make a container for the post, link to the post permalink. We need to get the file name. And then let's output the content.
Excuse me.
And our homepage should look like a little blog. Look at that. And pretty ugly, but it works. Now we can click on Hello World. Cool. We have a little blog now. So now we can go back to Quill and be like, cool, let's go post another note from Quill. And let's give it a tag. IndieWebCamp. Post, and hey, there it is. And notice that it added a new property category with the tag that I typed in. And that's on our blog now. Cool. So that was pretty good. I think we technically have a working Micropub endpoint now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go and do all the stuff that I would do of like making the blog actually look good, because that's just now a matter of dealing with our storage files and turning it into HTML that looks good. But it's a functioning Micropub endpoint. Was that, did I breeze over anything? Are there any questions about that, or should I start digging into replacing the token endpoint?
Token endpoint.
Oh, of course you do.
Briefly interested in metadata. So category was just, so tags were just, so it expects type, H entry or something. It expects content, and it expects an object of arbitrary metadata that then you deal with on the server. Or there's,
So the vocabulary here is microformats. So microformats defines the vocabulary of what we're using.
Sorry, we just missed the 10-minute warning.
Oh, thank you.
We've got 6 minutes left.
So H entry is the vocabulary we're using here, which means that there are all sorts of properties. Like we might have a blog post with a name. We might have, the client might send a publish date if we're doing like backdated posts. We saw a category here for tags. The client might send location, like if we do this, it should find out where we are. There it is. Close. And now Quill sent location. For replies, there's a reply property, so we can say if we're replying to a post. So if I'm replying to the check-in, we can go and say, we're going to reply to this URL.
There's a bunch of predefined metadata fields, and then if something is not there, you can just send it.
Yeah. So basically, there is a vocabulary that defines these property names with values that clients or servers will expect. If it's not in that list, you can basically there's a process for standardizing new properties. The microformats process. So you can see some of this here. Photo and video and then audio. Some of these are sort of in the process of being standardized as new vocabularies for H entry. But yeah, you can just also make a client that just does it. And it's up to you to sort it out on the other end. But the things in this list are the ones that most clients and servers support interchangeably.
Could you say a bit about handling uploads?
Oh yeah. Good question. So if I'm on Quill and I want to post a photo, for example, I don't think I have any photos on my test account. There's basically two ways to handle photo uploads in Micropub. One way is the client can just send a photo in the request, in like the post request multi-part style, like you would do in an HTML form. And that means the actual photo binary data is in the post request. That is sort of the simplest way to do it because it's easiest for the client, and the server most web frameworks can handle that. The sort of nicer way that gives a better experience for, especially on mobile clients, is doing the photo upload first before the post is created. So there's this concept called the Media Endpoint, which is tells clients, hey, anytime you want to write a binary file, go send it over here first, and I'll go and create a URL for it that you can reference in a post. So, not sure what the 3-minute version of this.
I don't think there is a 3-minute version.
I don't have time to code it up in 3 minutes, but essentially, you tell it another endpoint, which its only job is to accept uploads of like binary data and store it somewhere and return the URL. And then,
if I also want to type,
I mean, it's just in the file data.
but I mean, when sent back. So I want to do, if it's an image, I want to insert a markdown tag, and if it's a PDF, I just want to insert a link.
So the media endpoint doesn't care what it is or what it's used for.
Right.
All it cares is it's going to store this binary data and return a URL.
But on the client, there's no way of me telling what type of file is it, or is it, without making a separate request again.
No, because the client probably gave you the option of.
The client already knows.
Client already knows because it gave you the interface to use to upload it. For example, here, there's a camera button,
Right.
and it says add a photo.
Right.
And then notice I can't upload that cert because it uses the thing that says like only give me photos. So the client already knows this is going to be a photo when it gets it back. If you're making a client that uploads podcasts, then you're going to be expecting audio files. So the user is going to give it audio files. So it just sort of works itself out, right? And then to use that image in the post, Quill will send a new property called photo or video or audio, and that's sort of like where it tells the server what it is. And that's because of this vocabulary.
1 minute.
There's so if the client is going to upload an audio file, it's going to send an audio property with that URL to the file. So the server will end up getting a request that says audio equals blah blah blah, blah the MP3. And then the server knows like, oh, this must be a podcast.
But your media endpoint is only returning the URL.
Media endpoint only returns the URL and doesn't care what the file actually is, or whether it will be used in the future even, because it may not. The user might be interrupted and not make the post, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking you could send it 3 images and it will compile it to a video or something. Then you're kind of.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like because the pattern that in the spec is upload some data, get a URL back. You can sort of like overload that as long as it still matches the pattern that the client's expecting. So you can totally make a thing that's like, I'm going to upload a picture, but I'm actually uploading 3, and then the server converts it to a video and returns a video URL, right? As long as the client can still work with that URL later. So there's some flexibility here.
That is time.
Cool.
Thank you, Aaron.
That worked better than I expected.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would add like one last thing is the structure of that media endpoint is the same as what we just did in terms of checking that token, because it's gonna get that same token to authorize like is this a valid request from a valid URL, like has this been authorized, and then after that you just got to figure out where to put that file. It's almost identical to what you just did. In fact, you could probably, if you didn't expect JSON and weren't JSON encoding, you would be done.
Yeah.
You would just take the contents.
I think with about 10 more minutes, I could actually code it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows why he's the most prolific person in the community.
Knocks him out. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
That is
Thank you.
time on this session.